Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking the incredibly dense 12-week Finled Zambia curriculum and hacking it down into a fast-paced, highly practical masterclass on systemic wealth building. We're going to unpack the exact financial mechanics, the math, and the mindset you need to build real, lasting financial independence. Whether you're literally just starting out and trying to make sense of your very first payslip, or you're already looking to aggressively optimize your investments, consider this your ultimate blueprint. Let's dive in.
To really understand how wealth is built, we have to look at the people who have actually done it. So we're going to kick things off with a pretty dramatic real-life case study. Think about this. How exactly does a young man growing up in a poor family in Hichilema village, attending primary school barefoot, eventually become the 7th president of Zambia? Let me tell you, it's not about luck, and it's certainly not about inheritance.
We're looking at the financial journey of Hakainde Hichilema strictly as a masterclass in economic discipline. Long before he ever stepped foot into politics, he used a government scholarship to earn his degrees and eventually ground his way up to become the CEO of Coopers & Lybrand in Zambia by the age of 32. Going from those humble barefoot beginnings to an estimated net worth of over $350 million is absolutely staggering. It's a massive testament to professional discipline, long-term investing, and the sheer compounding power of patience over decades. He built an empire from the ground up, and the best part is, his blueprint is completely decodable for the rest of us.
Here is our agenda for this masterclass. First, the Barefoot Millionaire Blueprint. Then, mastering foundational financial skills, building and diversifying wealth, guarding against financial traps, and finally, securing long-term security.
All right, let's jump straight into part 1, the Barefoot Millionaire Blueprint. Now, this kind of wealth wasn't built overnight, right? It was constructed systematically across 4 very distinct streams over a period of decades. First up, cattle ranching. He started with just 6 cattle, investing in a productive asset that actually generates income and appreciates in value. Second, tourism, hospitality, and property. This provides steady rental income and acts as a massive shield against inflation. Third, a high-level corporate career that gave him a deep insider understanding of financial structuring. And fourth, strategic shareholdings. We're talking about a highly diversified equity portfolio across a bunch of different sectors. This right here is the ultimate proof of concept. You generate income, you hold appreciating assets, and you diversify massively to protect yourself against risk.
Moving right along to part 2, mastering foundational financial skills.
Look, step 1 of any solid financial plan is understanding exactly what money is actually yours. If you land a job here in Zambia, that big top number on your offer letter, that's your gross income. But as we all painfully know, you don't actually get to keep that. Your net income, your true take-home pay, is what's left over after all those mandatory statutory deductions. That includes PAYE, which is your income tax, NAPSA, which is quietly building your retirement pension, and NHIM, which funds your national health insurance. Knowing your true net income is the absolute baseline of your financial reality. Remember, even a future CEO has to start by properly managing their very first paycheck.
So, your net income finally hits your account. Now what? Well, the 50-30-20 framework completely removes the guesswork from your monthly cash flow. It's super simple. You allocate 50% of your take-home pay to your absolute needs. We're talking rent, transport, basic groceries. Then 30% goes to your wants, like entertainment or some new clothes. And then a very strict 20% is locked in for your savings, your investments, or paying down debt. It's a mechanical, emotionless way to ensure you are always playing solid financial defense.
But here is where that cash flow can be utterly destroyed. 300%. I need you to hear that number because it's not a typo. That is the annualized interest rate you might face on certain digital microloans if you aren't incredibly careful. Compound interest is a mathematical force of nature, and when it's working against you in the form of debt, it is devastating. To put that into perspective, if you borrow 10,000 kwacha from a predatory mobile lender at a 30% monthly rate, and you start missing payments, that balance can balloon to nearly 22,000 kwacha in just a matter of months.
If you do find yourself trapped in that kind of debt, you need a systemic exit strategy immediately. Now, the snowball method tells you to pay off your smallest balances first so you can get some quick psychological wins, and that's great for some. But for borrowers dealing with those extremely high-rate mobile microloans we just talked about, the mathematically optimal strategy is absolutely the avalanche method. You pay the bare minimums on everything else, but you take every spare bit of cash you have and attack the absolute peak of those interest rates first. You have to stop the bleeding where it's most severe.
Okay, let's flip the script and play some offense. Part 3, Building and Diversifying Wealth. We just saw how compound interest can completely crush you, but when it's working for you, it's the greatest wealth-building tool in the world. It simply means you earn interest on your original money, and then you earn interest on that interest. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, and it rewards time above absolutely everything else. For example, a young student saving just 200 kwacha a month, starting at age 18, will mathematically outsave someone who starts a decade later, even if that older person saves twice as much money. This is exactly how our case study leveraged patience to build an empire. Time, without a doubt, is your greatest asset.
When it comes down to where you actually park that cash, you've got three core options. First, you have standard savings accounts. They offer high liquidity, meaning you can get your cash fast, but the returns are very low. Second, you have government bonds, sitting in the middle, offering medium risk and pretty solid, steady returns. And third, you have shares on the Lusaka Securities Exchange, or LUS. These offer higher risk, but they also give you the highest potential for growth. Tying this right back to our barefoot millionaire, building true wealth means eventually participating in that high-return equity market so you can actually own productive, appreciating assets.
And speaking of assets, we have to talk about the biggest purchase you will probably ever make, a home. The actual steps to home ownership are straightforward enough, from pre-qualification all the way down to final registration, but society constantly pushes you to buy a house as soon as humanly possible. Here's the catch. In a high-interest rate environment, the true cost of a mortgage can vastly exceed the actual value of the property over time. You have to factor in deposit sizes, stamp duty, legal fees, and those massive interest payments. Honestly, sometimes renting and investing the difference in the LUS is mathematically superior to taking on an incredibly expensive mortgage without a really solid deposit.
Now we need to protect what we've built. Part 4. Guarding against financial traps. Behavioral economics shows us that our brains love to use mental shortcuts, and one of the absolute most dangerous is called present bias. This is when your fast, emotional, System 1 thinking takes the wheel, convincing you to blow your year-end bonus on a brand new phone today, rather than letting your rational System 2 brain invest that money for school fees or retirement way down the line. Developing a millionaire mindset requires actively defeating this bias, and the best way to do that? Automate your investments. Make sure the money leaves your account before you even have the chance to emotionally spend it.
And it's not just our own brains working against us. Scammers are constantly exploiting these human vulnerabilities too, especially in the booming mobile money ecosystem. Take the SIM swap attack, for instance. This is a severe and rapidly growing threat. A fraudster basically manipulates a telecom agent into transferring your phone number to their own SIM card. Once they do that, within minutes, they can reset your PINs and completely drain your mobile money savings. As digital finance grows, your money is literally only as safe as your cybersecurity habits.
To protect your hard-earned assets, you absolutely must treat this checklist like law. First, never share your PIN with anyone, ever. Second, stop using your birth year as a password. It's way too easy to guess. Third, if you get an unexpected text claiming there was a wrong transfer and asking you for a refund, ignore it. It is almost certainly a scam. Fourth, enable biometric locks, like fingerprint or Face ID, on your phone immediately. And lastly, regularly check your TransUnion credit report to make sure absolutely no one is secretly taking out loans in your name.
Let's bring it all home. Part 5. Securing long-term security.
Structurally speaking, retirement planning breaks down into three very distinct stages. Stage 1 is accumulation. These are your prime working years where you need to be aggressively saving and investing. Stage 2 is preservation. As you get closer to retirement, you start shifting your investments to protect your capital from market volatility. And Stage 3 is distribution. That's when you finally stop working and begin living off the assets you've spent your life building. The sad truth is, most people fail at this because they wait until Stage 2 to even start caring.
Here in Zambia, your retirement basically rests on three pillars. Pillar 1 is NAPSA, the mandatory state pension. Pillar 2 is any occupational scheme that your specific employer might happen to offer. But here is the hard, unavoidable reality. NAPSA is designed as a baseline safety net. It is not a luxury fund. If you actually want to enjoy your life when you stop working, Pillar 3, your own personal savings, your loose equities, your property investments, is completely non-negotiable.
And listen, estate planning is not just something for the ultra-rich. It is the absolute final line of defense for your family. Having a legally valid will ensures your assets go exactly where you want them to go, because if you pass away without a will, the Intestate Succession Act takes over and the legal defaults might completely contradict your personal wishes. We see this all the time and it often leads to devastating family disputes. You have to protect the transition of your wealth just as fiercely as you built it.
So, we've covered the mechanics. We've talked about managing income, eliminating debt, investing smart, mastering your psychology, and planning your legacy. You've seen exactly how a barefoot student can build a massively diversified empire over decades. The math absolutely works, but only if you actually apply it. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. What core financial philosophy is going to dictate your actions when you wake up tomorrow morning? Define your principles, automate your execution, and let time do the heavy lifting.